Hello, everyone. It is a beautiful sunshiny day here in Iowa where I am, and I will let my counterpart talk about the weather when we get to her. But this is our first ever Susan and Suzanne Want to Know. We have been inquiring and trying to find some answers, and we're going to share with you what we've learned and also hope that you'll share with us after you listen to our presentation today. So we're here today because Suzanne and I were talking and we want to know why we don't hear about GEER.
Yeah, we hear nothing about GEER. And who knows what GEER is? And that's what was, inquiring minds want to know. What is GEER and how can GEER help our school districts across the country? And we just wanted to let you know what GEER is, how it can help you, how we can help you, and then you'll have that question answered. What is GEER?
And we feel like we have been screaming at the top of our lungs, trying to let people know about these funds that are still there. So we're going to go ahead and get into that. This is a rant, a pleading, a venting, whatever you want to look at it about. Please learn about this and let us help you figure out a way to use them.
So we're going to great way to help your school district.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about what the GEER fund is. You know, it's really surprising how far in we are to the stimulus funds. How many people don't know what GEER is, have never heard of it? School board members, district leaders. But, ESSER was like drinking out of a fire hose. So we understand if ESSER has been on your mind for the last few years, but there's still opportunities with the GEER fund, which is actually the governor's fund. So it stands for the Governor's Education Relief Fund, and it was allocated through the same mechanisms as your ESSER dollars were, but the governor has sole discretion on how the dollars are being used. So you can see here's some of the information on the GEER fund, but long story short is governors have a lot of money left on the table that we'd like to see districts use in a really great and helpful strategic way.
It's a great opportunity for school districts to reach out to their state representatives, the ones that actually represent their district, their county, their school district, and their people locally. And you can tap into them and say, look, we really want you to present this email to our governor so that we might be able to get these funds. And Susan and I are going to talk to you about how to do that. So again, this is funds that are available to you.
Let's look at a little bit of history as we start to really go through what's left on the table and what we're talking about. So the last time we received stimulus funds was in 2008 under the American Reinvestment Recovery Act. At that time, the Department of Ed got a substantial amount of money, just like this time. But what's interesting is the Congressional Budget Office showed us that after all was said and done with those funds, after all the liquidation extensions, all of these things, the Department of Ed actually left $6.3 billion on the table that districts didn't spend.
I can't even begin to wrap my head around that, Susan. We left 6.3 billion, not billion, on the table. That means our districts didn't ask for that money. Yeah. We can't let that happen again. It just blows my mind.
We look at history so we don't repeat it sometimes. And we're really hoping that this session that we're doing right now is going to make you go, that's a lot of money that we return. We should really try to use what's left of our time with this stimulus rounds and these funds to do this well. So another thing that I just quickly wanted to mention too about ARA is a lot of the purchases that were spent were for one-time or short-term outlays. And really the bulk of how funds were spent last time was on professional development, which is a really great use of these funds and investing in your own people within the district. And then also a closer look at history of GEER 1, because we're in the second round of the GEER fund. was that after governors had spent money on masks and sanitation and all of the mitigation efforts for COVID-19 when we first were just kind of rolling things out with these funds, after that, the governors didn't seem to be completely sure how to spend the dollars. So we would start to see a little bit less strategy behind it. The best example I can think of is Governor Kemp in Georgia, who waited until August of 22 when the deadline was September of 22 to spend the dollars. And a big press release went out, and there were millions of dollars going to the Boys and Girls Clubs and the YMCA and great nonprofits that do great work, but not a whole lot of strategy when it comes to investing in people within the district, and also especially in terms of professional development.
So here is our opportunity to tap into that. Again, BootUp is here for your professional development, for coding and your computer science pathway. Let's figure out how you can get this funds to your school district.
Yeah, and with that, we're going to show you a little bit of what's going on with 6 months left to go.
Ohio, 22% has been spent. That's it. Look at how much is left on the table for you. It's an amazing amount. Let's put it to work with you, for you at your district. You know your governor wants to spend the money for you, so let's tap into that. Again, it's just a short, easy ask. Arizona, we've got to do something there for you. Look at that, 2.7% has been spent. Let's figure out a way to go get those dollars to your district to help your teachers and your students. And what a better way than to re-verify that you are going to be investing in your people and your students. Susan, we got to figure out a way to get these funds there.
Yeah, and we're not done. Look, here's some more examples for us.
Tennessee, Georgia, let's go after it.
And once these funds and these deadlines pass, they go back to the federal government, the same as ARA. This is not, oh, well, maybe it'll come back to us. In all likelihood, this is just going back to the federal government to put towards somewhere else. We're all familiar with the use it or lose it policies of funding in education, and this is no difference. There's still these dollars are here, and if we don't spend them, we're not getting them back.
Let's not repeat history. $6.3 billion, not million, billion dollars. Over $6 billion was left on the table. Again, Susan, we can't let this happen for our school districts. We have to get them to apply for these funds.
And that's why we're having this conversation. We really want to let you all know about this funding stream that exists for 6 more months. And we have to take advantage of it while we still have it. We know that there's shocks coming to the market after these dollars are gone. We're likely going to see a state recession. So your per pupil, your funding formulas are probably going to be less. You have areas with declining enrollment having funding issues. And then also inflation. You know, a bunch of districts are really struggling right now with their pensions and how much that has gone up because of inflation and how much more budget that's eating. We have to use the dollars we have while they have them. And again, this is going back to our strategic thinking and planning so that we invest in our own people through professional development. Computer science is a crazy exciting field. Survey your teachers, see if they want computer science. The answers are going to be very high yeses. They want this for their students.
They do. The parents in your community want computer science. Your students want computer science. They want this in their classroom. And when you partner with BootUp, we have the professional development that your teachers need and want. We've been doing it in many districts across the country. And we can show you the pathway that you can do with the BootUp and with the strategic investment in using these GEER funds. We have templates already to go for you. We have letters that you can send to your state representative and the governor and the Department of Education in your state to ask for these funds. But again, they're going to be looking for strategic ways that these funds are going to be used. And we have that. We can help you put that pathway together so that you can actually get these dollars and use them in your district so that you can really show that you're investing in your teachers and thus your students because they want it and your community wants it.
Yeah. And your community will be better for it when you have students who are prepared for the future of work. And also, just to recap, we only showed you 4 states. Those may not be your states. We are happy to get you the information on what's left in GEER Fund to see how we could strategically help you with exactly what Suzanne just shared, how we have all of these documents and all we need is for you to share your story and show how what you want to do with these dollars aligns with the mission of the governor. And we would be more than happy to help you any way we can. We don't want to see them go back.
Yeah, we don't want to leave this money there. Let's figure out a way to bring it home to your district. Reach out to Susan or myself, and we'll be happy to talk to you more about GEER. And don't let it go. And don't let Suzanne and Susan, continue this rant and frustration because we don't want to repeat history with the billions of dollars that were left on the table. We want to come back to you in September and say, woo, 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 we helped you win so much money with the GEER funds.
Yeah.
So we look forward to talking to you.
Yeah.
Thanks.